Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for the opportunity to speak on such an important issue. In the weeks and months to come, this House will debate the economic recovery from COVID-19, the decisions which will mainly affect women. The poor financial situation of women is one of the main factors contributing to the difficulty of leaving an abusive relationship. Today, we have a chance to create a more secure future for the millions of women at risk of domestic abuse across the UK. It is our duty as representatives to understand the environment in which domestic abuse is allowed to manifest and thrive, and create a legislation to protect victims from this environment. I represent constituents from the London Borough of Greenwich and Bexley. In the year 2018-19, the London Borough of Greenwich had the highest volume of domestic abuse offences across London. In 2019, Bexley Borough reported an increase in offences by 8.5%. Domestic abuse offences, which are already in the thousands in Greenwich and Bexley, are likely to have increased during COVID-19. By April 2020, the Met reported a 24% rise in domestic violence across London and warned that the true extent of offending is likely to be more. Women in low-income households are 3.5 times more likely to experience domestic violence. Whilst everyone across the UK will feel the financial impacts of COVID-19, women will face an increased risk of financial difficulties and will be at more risk of domestic abuse, which is why it's so important we support this bill today. In my constituency of Erith and Thamesmead, women's median earnings are 40% lower than men's, and 75% of women's income in my constituency is absorbed by the median private rent costs compared to 44% of men. If single women are priced out of renting in Erith and Thamesmead, how will they feel financially able to leave an abusive relationship? If women are unable to afford basic necessities for themselves and their children due to mainly low-paid work, insecure work, how will they feel financially able to leave an abusive relationship? If women are more likely to lose their jobs due to COVID-19 and face financial instability, how will they feel able to leave an abusive relationship? The answer is they won't, and many don't. We have a responsibility in this House today to support these new measures to protect victims of domestic violence at a time when they are likely to see an increase in offences. These include secure lifetime tenancies in English housing authorities. This will remove barriers that prevent victims from leaving their existing social housing tenancy and support them to remain in homes where the perpetrator has left. Then there's a framework for the new Domestic Abuse Commissioner to hold public authorities to account. And then the statutory definition of domestic abuse, which will allow victims to report abusive behaviour, which may prevent them from leaving a harmful situation, such as control over their finances. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm also calling on members to support Amendment New Clause 22, access to public funds for survivors of domestic abuse. This amendment will ensure that victims get the vital support and services they need to escape abuse, regardless of their immigration status. And New Clause 23, a duty to commission sufficient specialist domestic abuse services for all victims of domestic abuse, so that all victims can receive support within their homes, their community, or local refuge. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.